Morning, Patriots. Crazy Hawk 99 here. Today I want to do a hopefully short video, not too long a video, talking about scope leveling and the different methods you can use. Most of us, frankly, probably just level it by eye. So you'll throw it up to your shoulder, put it in the scope ring, throw the rifle up to your shoulder, and move it as necessary and tighten it down and go from there. And honestly, that's going to be great for normal ranges that people are normally shooting at. But if you're shooting at extended ranges and your scope's not completely or perfectly level or as close to perfect as possible, you're going to have some problems when you start making adjustments for your point of aim, point of impact. Just picture your reticle. I'm going to exaggerate it and say it's not level. If you think you want to raise the point of impact, say 3 inches, and you adjust this vertical plane accordingly, assuming this was vertical, it's not going to go up. Not only is it not going to go up 3 inches, but your point of impact is also going to go off to the right a little bit too. So it's going to cause you some grief in dialing in your dope. And we're talking extended ranges. A couple hundred yards, probably not going to be a big deal, but when you start pushing your range out, it is a big deal. Or if you're a perfectionist, it's a big deal. So let's just assume we're one or the other, or a combination of both. So again, most of us probably have always and still do just level by eye, and you'll adjust it, throw it up there, and take a look at something that you think is vertical and adjust it, and then set it and go. But there are other methods to use that are more precise if that's what you want to do. One of the more common ones is a level system similar to this one, made by Wheeler. And this is a good product. I've used it quite a bit in the past. And the way it works is you basically put this on the end of your barrel and clamp it down there. And then you set this on your receiver, this reference level on your receiver somewhere perpendicular to the bore. And then you adjust your vise or whatever you hold it in so that is level and it's secure. And then you make an adjustment on this to match that level there. And once you've done that, now okay, my gun is level. And you've got, this becomes your reference at that point. Then you take this, remove your turret cap. You can do it with the turret cap on, but in case there are any tolerance issues here, that may throw you off a little bit. Again, depending on how far you're shooting at, it may make a difference. And then you set this again perpendicular to the bore. You set that. And this is going to be level now because you've already set it based on your reference back here. And then you're going to turn your scope in this tube, or your scope tube in the mount as necessary, and then torque it down. So that works, and that's what I've done a lot. And honestly, it's not difficult. It's not super time consuming. And what I did on this one, because I'm going to compare it to another product, another system, I leveled the scope. I didn't tighten it down, but I leveled the scope using this system. And then I want to talk about this other system. So that's the Wheeler scope leveling system. This one's made by Avid, Real Avid rather. And you've probably heard of them. They're somewhat new to the gunsmithing industry, but they do make some unique products, some good products. I've seen one, or at least one I didn't really care for, but this is an interesting product. It's called their Level Right Pro. And it uses a completely different system. It doesn't rely off of, well, obviously it relies off of level, but it doesn't rely off using traditional levels like that. So what you do, it comes with several parts, different parts. There's a light here, and there's a couple mounting options. And then back here, I've got this set up. There's a grid pattern on this little board that comes with its own little tripod that's adjustable for height and cant, I guess. So what you do, depending on the system you're using, the weapon platform you're using, if you're using an AR type of weapon, then you use this Picatinny mount, and I'll show you how that works in a minute. And let's say you didn't like a weapon that had a regular barrel on it, just an exposed barrel with no Picatinny rail to go off of, then you use this one that has these little channels that the barrel sets down on. In the event the barrel is tapered, it's a tapered barrel, there's this screw that allows you to adjust it for can't you know, this way or that way a little bit, so that it accounts for the taper in the barrel, and then this becomes flush against the scope. So I'll demonstrate that a little bit here with this Picatinny system. It's pretty easy to set up. It may take you a minute or two the first time you do it. So you're going to slide this mounting system on here. There's a screw to set it in place. And then you're going to place it on your rail, and there's a clamp that allows you to loosely place it on the rail. And then you're going to slide it forward against the scope, the face of the scope, so that it's perfectly concentric with the face of the scope. And you're going to slide this down. Let me take this out a little bit and show you what we're doing here, because I only have one camera angle. See this V here? We're going to slide this piece down on top of the scope. Once we get it flush, and I set my Picatinny rail, so that's flush. I'm going to tighten the Picatinny rail system down here, clamping system, so it's not moving around. All right, that's pretty good. I'm going to slide this down. Now I'm checking. I'm going to use my little, where's it at? My little light, my O light I take with me everywhere to make sure I'm down on that thing. And I kind of am, and I'm kind of not on one side. So you want to be down on your scope, and you also want to be pretty much no gap between the scope and the face of this product here. And you're going to take this light, which is rechargeable, by the way, and it does come with a cable to put it in. You're going to just kind of rotate that in and set that in. The light has 3 settings, and what it's going to do is it's going to project a light through your scope, and your reticle is going to show up on this grid. Once you set this grid panel up here, you're going to go ahead and make sure that it's level, and it is, by adjusting the leg lengths and all that. And once you've got that set, you've got this in place, you're going to turn your light on. It has three settings, and not particularly bright. And so this is the high one. You're not going to see the grid on the camera because of the light here, but I can see it on the highest setting. I can see it faintly, and it gets fainter as you go. And you can also slide this in and out. That helps it come up a little more. Now you probably can't see it now. So I'm going to rotate the scope just to give you, so you can see that grid. Hopefully you can see the reticle in this video. If not, just trust me. And then what you're going to do is you're going to adjust your scope, rotate your scope tube, so that it's in line with the grid, which you've leveled based on this here. And once you've done that, you're done. Then you're going to set your tighten down your scope rings. And I'm not going to go through the procedure on that, but I will say it's important for 2 things. One is tighten them down so that the gap on each side is equal, so you don't have a dissimilar pinching function on one side or the other. And the other is to use a reputable torque wrench, because it's easy to strip out screws on the scope mounts. It's real easy, and it's pretty difficult to correct from that without ruining your scope rings or your mount. And this is a Wheeler product also. This is called their fat wrench. Other companies, Avid makes one as well. I don't know what it's like. I've not used it. This one works fine for me. This is an analog one. They also make a digital one, and I'll talk about some prices of products in a little bit. But so what I did was I initially leveled it with this just to see what the difference was. And then when I set this system up before I turned the camera on and leveled it, it was just a hair off. I mean, just a hair. And is that a difference from one system to the other? I don't know, because as I was fiddling around prior to starting the camera, I noticed that this level slides in the body. And I don't know what position it was in when I set the level before. So it could have been this was not where it's supposed to be, and I'm going to contact Wheeler about that. I will say this one thing about Wheeler. Their customer service is really good. I've had really good experience with them. Not that I've had a lot of failures of products, just questions here, whatever. And they've been really good about answering questions or replacing a part if necessary or whatever. So I'm going to contact them about that and see what they say. but I've had this a while. I don't know how long it's been doing that. It's kind of bizarre. I don't even see what's supposed to hold it in place there. But not a big deal. It is a big deal if you don't know it. If you know it, then you just make sure that it's pushed all the way against this screw here. So that's 3 ways. Just eyeballing it, using the level system, or using this Real Avid Pro Level Right Pro system. And I want to talk about the prices. So the Wheeler, and I just use prices on Midway USA, what they're asking. So that's going to give you a pretty good idea. I'm not even going to talk about MSRP because that number is not even really important anymore. But what Midway's asking for this set right here is $54, okay? And the torque wrench, the fat wrench, the Wheeler fat wrench, just if you're interested in something like that or you want to add that to your tools, the Wheeler torque goes for $48. The analog one, the digital one's a little more, I want to say 65 or something, I don't remember. And the Real Avid Level Right Pro on Midway goes for $70. So that gives you some idea there. Hopefully you found this interesting, but I want to say one more thing about the mounting system I'm using right here to do this. This is the Tipton Ultra Gun Vise, and it comes like you see it with this tabletop stand, and these things are adjustable fore and aft. You can take them off. You can, and it uses non-marring clamping surfaces. You can also raise these and lower them, and it's really handy. It also comes with a couple little trays, and I think a stand with a magwell mount for an AR-15, so you just put it in that as well. And this product, I really speak highly of. I don't do a lot of wrenching per se with this because it's not mounted solidly to the table or anything. So, if you're having to put any torque or anything on it, it's going to move. But I do a lot of scope stuff with it. You can do gun cleaning with it if you're wanting something to hold your gun while you're punching the bore or whatever, that kind of thing. It's handy there, but I've found it comes in handy. So this is about $150 on Midway. And also, as an option, you can get a stand for it, which I have. And the stand basically replaces this tabletop stand, and it's a stand that you could stand around and use, and I have that as well. And then you just take these off and put them on the stand, and it works really well that way. So hopefully you found this interesting, and by all means drop your questions and comments in the comment section. I'd encourage you, if you're watching this on Facebook, to open it in the app. The little button at the top says open an app, so that in that fashion you can like it and hopefully even subscribe to my YouTube channel. I don't have a lot of content, particularly lately. I haven't done a lot. There's a couple reasons for that, but I'm going to try to do a few things coming up to include talking about this system that I put together that we've mounted this scope on. And I'll say this right off the bat, it's a budget scope, but it's going to get the job done for the intended purpose. The scope, normally if you want to put some glass on that's perhaps even costs more than the weapon system you're using, but the rifle you're using. But in this case, that's not the case. It's a fairly budget-oriented one, but I want to see how it does anyway. I like to see what you can do for as little money as possible, and I think most people do. We all have limited funds. Yeah, I hope you found this interesting. By all means, give me a like and subscribe if you feel it's worth your time. If nothing else, leave me a comment, a thumbs up or a thumbs down, whatever you may say, and any questions you have, I'm happy to answer them. And that's it for today. Hope you all have a great day, and we'll talk to you on the next one.